Okay, Constellation training 2018-19, fifth weekend, January 12th, morning session 2.
This is the only one. This is the only one.
Oh, we have a. Oh, you're like reeling this. I'm gonna need more.
Who knows?
Okay. Okay. So what I want to know is, who thinks they might have an organizational issue? Yeah, I mean, anything going on with your business that's not functioning the way you think it should or the way you want it to, or like something keeps happening or an issue with a client, or a piece of system that you try over and over to make more efficient and it won't, or
So the
or a vendor who's driving you nuts?
Yeah, no, all the relationship with all my clients and are pretty clean and clear. So I think one issue that I'm contemplating back and forth is should I expand or not, which means should I look for getting someone else with me into the business, either hiring or...
That's a great organizational issue. That's perfect.
Or a temp person, or like it's another contract on an hourly basis. So I'm going, because right now I'm at the point.
Is everyone cool about exploring this then?
That's fine.
Okay, come on over. Okay. So, you're thinking about expanding your business.
Or not.
Or not, right, exactly,
right.
exactly. Right. And given what you said here, the next thought all of us have, of course, is if you're going to expand, you're going to have to get more people involved because you're already at your own limits. I mean,
exactly.
I almost expected you to say, I'm considering contracting my business because I'm working too much.
I know. I've been working a lot all my life. I honestly don't mind it. Because I've been, the earliest I can think back of working is when I was like 8, 9 years old. And it's how I grew up, and it's the most normal thing I do. So that part is fine, but yes, time-wise and workload-wise, I'm at that point where I cannot take on more.
Right. But you'd like to make more money. Is that, yeah. Well, let me ask the question.
I like to say more yes to people asking me if I can take on their bookkeeping.
Because?
I like that part. I can see their troubles. I can see how messy their accounting and bookkeeping is, and I know what that means for a business. It's horrible. It can cause a business to fail.
Okay, so you'd like to help more people?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And if it means more income, that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not your primary driver?
No.
Okay. But you're at a limit of how much more yes you can do?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're thinking, to say yes more, you're going to have to hire somebody. And I think I heard two things, maybe a temp, sort of an assistant type person.
Right.
Or a fellow accountant, or what's the CPA? What's the role? Bookkeeper. Okay.
Yeah, either really getting someone on payroll, like employee,
right?
Which brings a whole nother set of issues and responsibilities with it. And the other option is to see if I find someone who does, who is experienced and likes to take on hourly work. The big issue with that part is trust and confidence, because I'm responsible for a lot of very intimate information of my clients.
Right.
So trusting someone enough and knowing that I'm then responsible to make sure that confidence and trust is honored and respected and not abused.
Is the key question whether to hire anyone, or is the key question whether to hire someone as contractor or as employee, you've decided you're going to, I mean, have you already decided to expand? Or
no, the question is actually
whether, and then you'll ask the next questions. Right. Yeah, okay. But you already notice running into some of these, can I trust someone? Oh, there are complexities in having contractors and having employees. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you have any sort of timeline on this? When you'd like to answer this question for yourself? Or is it just sort of burbling up right now?
Yeah, and haven't really put that in stone yet. Maybe I should to just get it over with. Either do it or don't do it, and be fine not doing it. But I noticed it's a recurring thing coming up, especially right now when I have to work a lot. And it would be nice to have someone who can take on some stuff, so I can take a couple of days off without losing a lot of income.
Right. And I just want to name all sorts of coaching questions are starting to arise for me now, because you guys know I do a little bit of business coaching as well. You know, things like, you know, what would push the issue, or have you done some research on companies in your situation that have taken made the decision? How did they establish fiduciary responsibility on the part of the employee? What is your business entity? I'm not asking any of those questions.
Can you define what the business is? I'm not clear on.
Yeah, what's your business, just so people know?
Okay, so I'm basically a sole proprietor. It's just me, and I do basically accounting and bookkeeping for a variety of very different clients, from big corporations to nonprofits to individuals. And on that part, I also started doing some business and financial consulting and coaching, basically helping small business owners making decisions on how to spend their money, when they spend their money, and what to do with
their
this
business entity, and stuff like that.
Reorganizing their way, how the business is structured, including what kind of employees they have and what they should have and shouldn't have, etc. So there's a whole variety of.
Okay. So it's basically a bookkeeping,
office administration, office consulting.
That's expanding into coaching and consulting, maybe. You know. Okay. That answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And right now, to the degree that you have, it's not employees, but you just have vendors, people you pay for a certain.
None. It's just me.
Zero. Yeah. Exactly. No, I mean XERO. I mean.
You mean like a pay?
You have some vendors
software.
that
I
do
use software.
Pieces of work of some sort or another. Okay.
Yeah, I use software too.
Okay. So even just moving into having someone you manage would be really new territory. As you know, that takes up time and energy all by itself.
So I've been through that whole experience once, because I already had earlier companies in my life, and I went exactly to that same spot of thinking, should I expand, hire someone? Back then I decided to hire someone and went through the whole process of training someone. And I was extremely lucky because I was able to hire a very qualified and very capable person.
So that went well.
Yes, that went really well.
Okay.
She actually ended up buying my business.
Oh, okay. So you have a good history with this. So you don't, that would be relevant. Like if someone has bad history with something like this, I'd want to know that. But you'll just notice I'm not asking coachy questions. I'm just putting that aside. If she were to enroll me as a coach and I'm doing constellations as part of it, then I might ask those questions. But we're just going to do a constellation here. So the main question that you would like answered about this right now would be what?
Why am I going down that road of thinking, and actually started asking possible candidates if they would be capable and willing to take on some hours. I might have some extra work, and have two people in my environment who both said yes, they would. I work with both in different client situations, so I do think the trust issue isn't that big of an issue in my mind. But there is a part, I go there and then I don't follow up. So there's something holding me back of making a decision. Am I doing it now or am I doing it not? And I notice myself going down that road. I want to expand, asking people, and then not following through. So I would be interested in looking into what's holding me back. Like why am I not?
So instead of why, because we're obviously going to answer, we answer why questions all the time. It sounds like the real question is, should I? Should I expand? Or maybe I've got a good deal here. I should leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because sometimes expansion is what is the first step in destroying a business, right? Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I just want to say a word about Lily. She's not here right now, but I do want to let you know that over the course of the day, as we have constellations, I have very successfully and easily incorporated people in Zoom as representatives in constellations. Obviously, we're not going to do that now because she's not here. But at some point,
I'm here.
You are here?
Yeah, it's easier for me to do the Zoom on my phone. So, and it's a weird angle. So I'm just watching you guys.
We're going to need to see you if you want to participate.
We don't see you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to participate in the constellation.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
But I'm here.
Good to know. Okay, good. So I know the resources I have available. Given that, how do you feel about representing yourself? Because that frees up somebody to do something else at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So amongst our two, could you choose one to be your business? Okay. Okay. So just the two of you, just being aware of and since we're not seeing her, let's make this bigger so you can at least see it a little bit better. There. Just stand across from each other in a way that doesn't block the webcam. There you go. So just formally, could you put your hand on his shoulder and just say, my business or something? Excellent. Katerina's business, how are you so far?
I think pretty neutral.
How are you looking at Katerina? What's your experience of your, founder, owner?
Not too much coming through, just I see her.
It's fine. Okay. And how are you, Katerina? What are you noticing?
There's a sense of curiosity looking at this, like, no strong emotions. I like what I see. I feel like it's outside of me. It's not like I feel like.
That's actually a good thing. That's
to
healthy.
me, it's like, this is over there. I'm like, look at this, kind of cool.
This is actually a good thing. When we have systemic sort of merging between you and your business, this is not good. You're you, your business is your business. They're two different things.
Yeah.
In fact, for me, I know Maria Elena's a little bit in your way. I want you to take one step back.
Yeah, that feels better.
Yeah, it does. It was just a little, I don't know what it even means that you were too close, but you're a little too close. Any change for you?
Feel a little freer.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a role for you, Maria Elena, but I want you to wait. I want to bring something else in first, which I will represent. But I want you available for the quote unquote more important role. Not more important in the system, but more important to her question. Okay, so I'm going to come in as your current clients. Okay. How's this for you?
We need you.
How's this for you?
I have a very happy feeling inside of me. I like you. I do, and looking at the distance between you and the business, kind of I'm curious about this, and it makes me like, shouldn't that be more over there? You know? But it's more over here, which actually feels okay that it's over here. But
Yeah.
there's a question mark for me in this.
Okay. Now this is where my coaching bit can actually help, and I'll get to that in a second. Let me report out first. My first desire was to look outside at my stuff, my world, my work, the things I have to do in the world. But it kind of kept me separate from all of you. So this makes me connected to this, but I can still look at what I have to do in life, which is what I like. As I stood here, I was finding the right position, and it is closer to you. I feel, unsurprisingly, this doesn't feel human, and this does. And I like feeling next to the human. And in fact, that one saying, we need you, felt a little grabby. It was actually didn't feel like, I don't want you to need me. I need you. That's upside down. That felt a little, And then Leslie says, in response to what you said about being over here, this is actually a big change that you might be contemplating systemically, because as someone once told me, when you're self-employed and you're a solo business, you are your business, you are your brand. So people do hire you. When they go with a bookkeeping company, they're just going with the business and the work, right? So you're kind of contemplating diminishing
the using
the bond, the central, and that's why it's a very important systemic change in a company's life. When it goes from being, you basically are selling your personality, your ethics, what you're like, and people are drawn to you, to, I have a business that you can get these things from. And it's not so much about me and who I am. So at this point, your current clients like it like this.
Exactly.
So if it changes,
it might change the whole situation.
Yeah, so this is just systemics. Yeah. We haven't looked at Katerina's mother or father or World War II or anything. We're just looking at the systemics of this business a little bit. So what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm going to stay here. Would you please come in, find your place as potential new employee, contractor, doesn't really matter, but someone that she hires, if she expands. And anyone, of course, can move. Yeah, so I now identify more over here. with the employees and the business, and less with you. And if anyone wants to shift or anything, just follow your movement. I still like you and care about you, but you're more pedestal. You're like, somewhere way up there. But I hire now because of how this feels. So start with you. How does this feel?
Okay.
Would anything change at all?
Not really.
Can you say to her whatever you want?
Whatever you want.
It's fine.
Fine.
I'm going to do a little bit differently. How's this for you?
It's okay. It feels like, okay, you're my boss. I'm here to do whatever business. But I'm my own, it's like, you know, I'm my own as well.
Is there any difference for you between this? Feel that for a moment. The clients identified with Katerina.
Actually, I like you more here.
You do like it? See, this is...
I like this more.
This is where you might get some territoriality going with. These people might end up making more of a relationship. Finally. So how is this for you? Let you do the compare and contrast as well. How does this
I
feel?
like the 10 times more over there.
Yeah.
I like that. I like this. This is all set. It's like this, and this is kind of an entity. Like, I can sense my connection. I can sense there's a connection, but I can also sense there's an in itself working system that it has nothing to do with me. Like there's two, like, and there's a mix of feelings. One is like, is that really going to be okay? So there's a little bit of a concern. Not so many thoughts, but just feeling. And the other thing is like, it's quite exciting because it frees me up to do other things.
This feels like the constellation. You've gotten your aha. You've gotten your awareness. You know the difference. It's either this, or you step out, or it's like this. And one isn't right or wrong.
Yes, I can, to me, like, I can handle both. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a positive thing, and this is a positive thing. And yeah.
My own sense, now, this is not to diminish the transition period, which could be a bear, right? Hiring a new person and managing them and getting the clients adjusted and maybe losing some clients over it and then having them replaced. Transitioning can be really difficult. But when I just feel the overall system as the facilitator, this versus this feels like the image I'm getting is in the first one, it's like you have to apply a lot of pressure to make the boat hold together. And this one actually is a boat, the integrity of which you can trust a bit more. You don't need to be working so hard at making it hold together.
Mm-hmm.
And that leaves you with energy to redirect in other directions if you want to. This feels a little bit more self-sustaining.
That's what I meant. Yeah, it feels like a system in itself that's kind of working, right? The three factors kind of complement each other, and it's so I feel like I need to pay attention. I need to make sure nothing goes into extremes, you know.
Well, there are things you'll have to be doing you don't even need to worry about now.
No.
Right?
Right.
Like this one. And maybe firing someone or hiring someone or correcting someone or dealing with personality issues and all that stuff, right? all of a sudden she's got a baby and you're like, oh, what do I do about that? And you want to share something?
Yeah, I want to share. When I stepped here, it wasn't like any confrontation or anything. Like, I mean, I'm just ready. Just I'm myself, but I'm not your competition or nothing. It's just I'm myself. I'm.
Can you say,
sure.
I've got a good job?
I get a good job. I do a good job.
Yeah, and you can say, I'm a job creator.
I'm a job creator.
Right?
You know, so it feels
Which
like,
is actually kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
To create a space where someone who didn't have a job can have a good job with a
And
nice
it's
boss.
actually a pretty cool job because you can do it from home most of the time. You can do it remotely at your own time whenever you.
And you're like, sign me up. Right. Okay, good enough? You got
good enough.
Excellent. So this is classic organizational constellation in a lot of different ways. One is that we didn't deal for a moment with Katrina's mother or father or anything like that. Yeah. We didn't deal with complex, what are her issues around getting her needs met and blah, blah, blah. We dealt just with the elements of the system, okay, based on the interview and what she said was the most important thing to look at. It also, it tends to be humbler about outcomes. I wrote the word resolutions, but resolutions is actually not a really good word for what you do in organizational constellations. Mostly what you want to do is reveal the systemics and maybe reveal a better systemics, perhaps. Better being, very subjective.
More efficient, more functional, maybe.
Yeah, more functional, something that honors something that wasn't honored before, included something that wasn't included, rearrange something on the floor in a way that feels better to everybody. So in that sense, it is a little bit like a resolution, but it still leaves Katerina, and this is something that's true with other clients as well, but is even more explicitly true, is that we leave Katerina with a dignity. She's still got a choice to make. She's still got to decide what she wants to do. And she still needs to do her due diligence and her research. And she can't say, oh, I'm going to go hire someone tomorrow and, hope they work. Yeah, and then make a mess of things. She actually needs to do some research and da-da-da-da. She's got some stuff to do. Maybe some more exploring in her own heart. But she's got a lot of information she didn't have before. Okay? Everyone sort of grok that? Yeah. So I'm wondering if anyone would like to do a little piece for me. Not because I want to use this time to get my needs met, but because I think I'm the only other one here with a really strictly organizational context to really keep it clean, as opposed to, we could deal with there are sort of semi ones where you could set people up in money or them in work. Yeah, you can always set those kinds of things up, and they're hybrids. But you already know how to do that sort of stuff. But Jeff or Maria Elena, would you like to do a little constellation and do it like this, really simple, the simplest terms? Yeah, either of you?
Sure. Go for it.
Why don't you go for it? And this afternoon, by the way, I've asked our representatives if they could, because we continue to have this pattern of people signing up to represent on Saturdays, but not Sundays. So instead, I've asked them to stay all afternoon, and they all said yes.
Okay.
So we can have 2 people facilitate this afternoon, and with more representatives. And you can represent tomorrow as well, but it is nice to have a few more bodies to do that with. Okay? So you feeling ready to do a little one? Sure. With me? Okay, so I'll sit over here. You sit in the big chair. Okay. I need to clarify my issue a second, so you can go ahead and ask or do your pre-constellation ritual.
Yeah,
but I actually don't have a crisp issue yet, so I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
So you go for it. You do what you want to do. And I want to say, and we're done at 1. Okay. So really, this is real, like we just did with her simple. Okay.
I just would like us to just gather a little bit ourselves and visualize our ancestors behind our back and ask them to help us with this constellation. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I am.
So what is the issue?
So, so I have this event, the intensive, which has some people who are called staff. So there's the faculty that's separate. I'm not going to talk about the faculty. They're great. But these people who are called staff, who are mostly being compensated through trade. You know what that means?
Yes.
Yeah. I had to let one of them go, and it was messy. So look what you're opening yourself up to.
I've been there.
It just got really, really, really messy. And although I'm really clear that I've brought the agreement to a close, there's a way in which the situation is not actually really resolved because there's been communication issues. I'm going to hold a lot of confidentiality here because there's stuff here that just I shouldn't. But the simple, I would like to see what the heck is going on with that in service of continuing to bring it to a good resolution. Both for my relationship with this person, excuse me, I need my water, and for obviously the event. Okay?
Okay. So the issue is very, very, very big, broad for me.
Okay, but what do you just ask what you need to ask to?
Just can you?
Yeah. What do you ask me some specific questions?
Could you state it in one sentence? The issue in one sentence, so that it's clear.
I had to let somebody go. And it's been messy. And I want to bring it to cleaner resolution than it is right now. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Yes. So we have 2 people here.
Okay.
So
I just want to, this is facilitator Leslie.
Okay.
So there's nothing else you need to know? You ready to go? You might be. I just want to double check because you can ask me more questions about this system.
No.
Okay.
No.
Good. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Maybe,
Back to Leslie client.
Yeah.
Okay.
So would you like to represent yourself, or would you like one of them to represent you?
I think I can represent myself, and
okay.
I will let you know if I'm getting out of.
Okay.
Like if I need someone to, but I think I'm okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
And I'm going to call this person X, just because I don't want to slip up and use this person's name.
Okay.
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 X. Yeah. So you have someone to call X or something.
Yeah. Would you like to choose any of them to be your ex, to represent your ex?
Just represent X.
Represent X person.
Yeah.
Okay. Represent X.
I'm going to get rid of X. That's not good. That doesn't have good vibration at all.
Right.
Staff. What should I call it?
Staff.
Former staff person.
Former staff person. Would you like to choose? Okay. A representative?
Yeah.
Former staff.
Okay.
Person. Former staff person, how do you feel?
There's a little bit of anger here. I don't want to look at her. Not intense, it's just a bit.
Say that again?
It's not intense, it's just a bit.
And I realized there's something I ought to share. Literally just this morning, it's been a growing realization that there's a piece of work that this person was doing that, I just had to stop. But I'm just this morning, it's become clear, I'm gonna have to go back to this person because there's pieces that he holds that I don't have access to now. Has to do with online stuff. And it's gotta get resolved. So in terms of a cleaner resolution, there's actually some work-related stuff we need to work out. I realize I just forgot until this moment. So it's kind of critical. That this gets worked out better than it is right now. In terms of my experience, I'm noticing that he's looking that way and not at me, and that's slightly irritating. But also understand it, and part of me wants to also look somewhere else. But it's like I can't help but keep glancing back.
Just gonna feel the feeling of it. Yeah.
And then when I talk about that issue, I realize we're not done. I've got to look here.
Now that Leslie's looking at you, former employee, what is there anything change? Does anything change for you when Leslie's looking at you?
Feel a little bit more hostile. Like I don't quite know how to put it. It's like, oh, you need something from me. You didn't know you needed that. I have something, now you see I have something you need.
Is it possible for you to look at Leslie?
Possible.
Would you like to look at Leslie?
No.
No. Could you do it on manual just to see how, if anything, happens? So what happens when you look at Leslie?
I feel less hostile.
Is there anything that you would like to tell Leslie?
I feel bad about this whole situation. I would rather be mad about it than feel bad about it.
How about you, Leslie? How are you doing with all this?
When he said, now you see something I need, you need from me, part of me just kind of like crumples, like a little bit of anger, but mostly it's like I always need you. That's why I hired you. Your your contributions in and of themselves were never at issue. And then when he looked at me, I had a similar kind of, it was just a real sense of, well, I just really care for this person. I wish we could stay in this caring place. And then when he moved back over there, I kind of wanted to just like, you gotta look at me. But we didn't quite get in there. Now he's looking at me again. Oh, now he's looking over there. I'm gonna try.
I would rather be mad and essentially blame you.
Yeah.
But now that you heard Leslie saying that she does care about you, what does it feel? How does it feel like? The two separate things. The person and the job or obligations.
Sorry?
I see two separate things. The person that Leslie said, I care about this person, like she cares about you. But the job is the other part. It's not about you, it's about the job or right? Is that correct?
One level it's correct. In other words, it's more complicated.
Okay. But when you hear her saying that she cares about you, how does it feel?
Feels good. I feel it feels better than it did, but we're still here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're still here. That's very true.
Leslie, would you like to tell ex-employee we need to talk?
So it's interesting. You stumbled right into this part of the systemic problem, which that's what I've been saying for about 1.5 years. And he doesn't answer emails. He doesn't. Yeah. And when we do talk, there's something there. I don't know. I'm not. I think that's what I'm looking for. It's like I've tried the obvious move 100 times. What's the move I haven't made? And part of it feels like this stepping in the way, and I don't know what that means in sitting down at a computer or anything, but instead of waiting for him to look at me to stand here, feels like part of the move.
Is it possible for you to say to him, will you help me communicate with you?
So interesting. So part of my reaction is like, I shouldn't be smart. I shouldn't have to be figuring out how. There's something in there that would be more useful than where I'm at, but I'm not finding it. So this is Leslie, facilitator, coach. I'm going to invite you to sit down for a moment.
Okay.
And just
absolutely.
And see. Don't try and figure it out. You can see what comes to you next or what you might try.
Okay.
There's a water glass. And then when you have an idea, you can try it.
Okay.
See, a little bit of space helps, right?
Yeah. And actually, I thought about this before, but I didn't incorporate. God, could you please stand for? I'm not sure how to call you, really, but it's like the impediment. Yeah. I don't know if that's,
There's a common sort of systemic thing is the obstacle.
The obstacle, okay. Could you stand for the obstacle, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just doing this because I have some problems. This has nothing to do with the role.
Okay. So how do you feel, obstacle?
I feel like I really want to keep a distance from these two. That move was uncomfortable. And there's a sense of being annoyed. I mean, like I was like, what the hell? Yeah, it's like the movement of like, it feels like there is something pulling me. I should be there, like here, but I really do not belong there. I don't want to be there. I want to be.
What happened when Leslie steps into
So scary. There's a sense of being scrutinized, being like. I feel very small all of a sudden. I don't like that look. Like,
And how about when you look at the ex-employee?
It's almost like I want to hide behind him.
So can we call this one the former staff person?
Former staff person, sorry.
Yeah, just
former
keeping the
staff.
systemics clean.
Yes.
I'd like to hide behind the former staff person, like get out of this spot here.
So Leslie, when you move in front of the obstacle, what is the feeling?
Well, the first thing was that when something else came in the room, I was very relieved because it took off the pressure on this dyad. I felt like, oh, there's more here now. So it's not him and me having to confront or deal with each other. and that was attractive. That's why I stepped closer to it. And then I just, when this one so clearly pointed at the middle and said, you know, maybe I belong there, but I definitely don't want to be there, or however you put it, I went, it was like almost gravitational. It just, and this is not intending to be confrontational. In fact, if we had a larger I actually feel this is too close as well.
Yeah, I feel like
if the chair were a little further away, but I can't move because this was the spot. I don't want the chair in the middle, but this was the spot you indicated, so I have to be here.
Yeah. So this is good.
It just feels like some redirect of my energy that this needs. Something like that.
When I'm here, I'm not feeling anymore. I need to hide behind the former staff, so I'm good here. So this is comfortable and feels like it's okay.
How about you, former staff? How do you feel? Wait.
Sorry.
With the arrival of the obstacle.
I would rather focus on this than this.
Can't move now. I wanted to like now this one and me are a little too close. And I was like, so let me move over here, but I went, ooh, I can't move from here. I was all glued.
Actually, you know what? I don't know if this is relevant, but when this chair came here, I think this is representing something else.
Okay. Something that was blocking and got moved out of the way.
Yes.
Something
So
that
there
was
is
in the way
something
of
else.
seeing the obstacle.
Yeah.
An obstacle to the obstacle.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, that's funny. That brings up some tears.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So there's a sentence I want to say here. I hope it's okay. I don't know how much is coming from Leslie's agenda and how much actually from the role, but these tears, to everybody, particularly to this one, I want to say, I bear the burden. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I just like, just.
My shit.
No, not my shit, not at all. When it comes to the intensive, I bear the burden. Nobody else does. And I do that willingly, but not everyone bears the, like, comparatively, this one bears this much of the burden compared to me. And there's something about this spot. It's like, I bear the burden.
Former employee, how do you feel when
Staff person.
staff
Sorry.
person?
Sorry. I really, because employee is a really different, as you were, is a very different fiduciary responsibility.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. Former staff person.
Former staff person, how do you feel when you hear Leslie saying that when you hear her, how do you feel?
I don't feel any particular emotion, although it does make me curious as to why you have to be why you're stuck in that spot. You can't move from it.
Leslie, do you have an answer for me? Is there any?
I mean, at one level, it's a good question. I don't know if it's because this is my spot and I'm supposed to stand here, or I'm stuck. I don't know which. But it does bring up another reaction, which is, that's not your business. Like just a little bit of when we get into the role stuff, one of the things that we've been dealing with all along is how hard it is for that one that I have a senior role. And always do and always will. And that this one wants saying stuff that they just don't. It's not a good or a bad thing, it just kind of is. And so that brought that up for me a little bit. Ways in which I've had to explain myself that have been really strange in the relationship. Certain interrogations I've been on the receiving end of. And that's definitely, I'm not representing myself very well. Warning, warning. Always the dangers of having someone represent themselves, because they come with their story.
Right. Obstacle, I see you looking at for my stuff.
Yeah, I'm just checking in with myself, wondering what I'm representing here, because there's a mixed sense. I don't feel like an obstacle. I don't feel like I'm in the way. I feel more like someone from the outside. I'm kind of watching, what's going on, and the thing that keeps popping up is wanting to say, "Man, get your act together." It's like almost like there's a sense of being impatient.
About whom or about what?
I want to say that to the former staff person. Get your act together. And so I'm not sure what I'm representing, to be honest, or what I'm standing in for. It's like,
well, when you put in abstraction, it's always a little tricky.
Yeah.
Right? But we're going to trust her naming of you as the obstacle.
Okay.
Now, obstacles can also be resources once they're seen and included. But we're going to trust. We otherwise, we're just thrown into chaos with constellations. We've got to trust the naming that you are whatever the obstacle that needs to be seen now.
Yeah.
And I'm having a bit of a movement in me.
Yeah.
This may be more of the problem present state showing up. For some reason, I'm pretty sure this is the wrong spot for me, but I think it needs to be seen for a moment.
Yeah, my reaction is not good.
No, I'm super aware that there's something missing there.
Could this be? Because I sense that when this chair moved to this side, there was something that belonged into the system.
Maybe I wasn't feeling it until you just named it again.
Okay. So if
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Actually, I was thinking that maybe I have the feeling that you're not the obstacle, really, an obstacle, but a resource. I don't know if we can do the change, if we can, because obviously you're not feeling as an obstacle.
So it's 1 o'clock. So
Okay.
I'm going to invite us to actually leave it here.
Stop. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Because I want to just spend 5 minutes talking about this just a little bit.
Okay.
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 Yeah. How do you want to end this?
I'm at loss now. I would like to know what you have to say as
Right.
the coach, as the
Right. We'll do that when we sit down. But
Okay.
in terms of the constellation, do you want to?
We will just leave it here, and then we will see if we need to come back to it.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we go to our?
Why don't you go to your seats? These are pretty, this doesn't need to be done quite as formally as some of the other ones. So I do want to send you all off to lunch or off to whatever Lily's going to do for the next hour and a half. What do I want to say about that? So the first thing I just want to say is a lesson I really want to underline over and over and over and over again. Never, unless you look back and you realized, oh, I kind of messed up when I was naming that person. I was very unclear. Trust what you name your roles. Because if you don't, it just puts you into chaos. You're in the middle of just a constant muddle in which you're trying to figure out who's what and what are they doing and da 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 da. So whatever Katrina was representing, we're going to trust it's the obstacle between me and my former staff person. The obstacle to a successful resolution, a clean, clear resolution. Now, that could be something which, once acknowledged and seen and honored, is a resource, right? Or is benign, or, all kinds of things. But please trust your labeling of roles. I've seen this over and over again. New facilitators, when something starts to show up as kind of counterintuitive, here's the thing. If something shows up counterintuitively, then go, yes, the Constellation is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, because that's what it's supposed to do. If it showed up the way you expected, we wouldn't have to do constellations. Right? Right? If the father showed up as the story of the father, and if the mother showed up in the way as the story of the mother, and the work showed up as the way as the story of the work, then all you would have to do is Freudian analysis with people. You wouldn't have to do constellations. But when the abusive mother shows up as loving, now you've got a constellation. When the angry father shows up as scared, now you've got a constellation. You don't say, I wonder if that's not really mom. I wonder if that's not really dad. Okay? Now, we tend to have that happen with abstractions more than with people, because we can understand angry dad can show up scared. Right? That's a little bit more logical and easy. But for the obstacle to show up as a resource, I must have done something wrong as a facilitator, or something must be going wrong in the system. Instead, stick with it until it shows its meaning or the structure, or, and try new things and da 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 da. So that's one thing. And that's something I'm just going to say over and over again, because I've noticed this as kind of as a newbie temptation, is once a role starts showing up in some way is different than the story or the expectation, to start mistrusting your own labeling of roles. And then you're in a pickle. Because now you can't, there's no way to track anything. Right? And when the representative, and this is perfectly normal behavior, says, I don't know if it's me or the role, or I don't know if I'm actually representing what you said I represented it, just say, we're going to trust the role, and everything that's coming through right now is part of the role. And then you can just settle the representative down. Now, extremely rare circumstances. I mean, if you did something and you said, I want you to represent the fate of the father. No, not the father, the grandfather, but not really the fate, but sort of what happened. Now you're in a mess, right? Now, if what shows up is very unclear, well, it's because you labeled very unclearly, right? Right. Okay, so I'm just going to keep underlining that. Work with what you got and treat it, and trust the field. Trust the field, trust yourself, trust the field. And then the other thing, my guess is at the point where we stopped, because it was getting a little like, what's going on here?
Mhm.
What do I follow? This is a really good point where you sit the client down and say, I need some more information, because I'm really not tracking what's going on, and I suspect 2 or 3 details will turn out to be very important for me. What's been going on in your relationship with this staff person, with this former staff person? How have you tried to communicate with them? Do you have any guesses of what's wrong in the interaction? Just a little bit more of that, and then you can step on in. It felt like one of those moments where you're trying to figure out what was going on with some abstract roles. In the chair, you didn't know what it was, and the obstacle, we're not sure if it's the obstacle, if you're getting stuck like in that particular way when you really didn't have much of an interview, it might be, I need a couple more details to hang my hat on here. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Instead of, it's like kind of going in the dark. Is this a lamp shade? Is it someone's head? Is it, what am I touching right now, right? Yeah. And that's too hard.
Yeah.
It's too hard for you to figure it out then. Okay? Okay, back at 2:30 and your seat's ready to go.
Okay. Leslie?
Yes, hi, Lily.
I think it's 4 a.m. here. And
Yeah.
I think what I'd like to do is come back after. So I think I need more sleep.
Of course you do.
Come back after the constellations are over for the lecture part at the end. Maybe. I might be asleep then.
Right.
What time would that be?
We may not do any, because you missed. Because we only seem to get representatives on Saturdays rather than on Sundays, I've asked for them to stay through the whole afternoon, and we'll probably do 2 student constellations.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
So I feel like I could watch that like on the video.
Yeah, sure. For sure.
It's a pretty terrible time zone for me to be in.
It is.
For this.
It's hard.
So I went to sleep for like 3 hours, got up. I think I'll just go back to sleep and then try to just like stay up from the first 3 hours tomorrow and then see if that works or something.
Recording and start. Yeah, that's just fine.